beautiful day for this celebration. Very Demoss, it's easy to celebrate a life when that individual has spent his lifetime celebrating life. Today's a celebration of life, not a mourning of death. Your life is made of 2 days. Buzz Brown from Wells, Texas can certainly testify to this. It's the day that you're born, and you come on this earth, and it's the day that you leave this earth. But there's something between those dates, and it's called a dash. Cole's dash was wide and deep. As you read the life of Coyle Demoss, that's just a little of it. We're going to celebrate actually the dash. Coyle Demoss made the most of his dash, and all that he had for family and friends. Each and every one of you that's here today is part of that dash, part of that time from his birth to the time that he left. So let the celebration begin. It's a great honor to introduce our Marine military honors. If you would please rise.
flag, the symbol we love most honorable individuals.
If you would, please stand. Turn it over to you, distinguished honor, presenting the Sonic Lodge. Thank you, gentlemen.
Good afternoon. My name is Nathan Descendants. I'm a past master at Travis Lodge 117 in Germany, and current fourth master of Coyle Demoss Lodge 1152 here in Minnesota. And I would like to send thanks to Mary and the family for inviting us here today to perform the song rights for very good. At this time, I'll read the song history of our party brother. Coyle Demoss was initiated as an apprentice on October 28, 1975, North Star Lodge in the Coyle Room in Texas. He was passed the degree of photograph on October 19, 1976, and raised to the degree of Master Mason on November 16, 1976. On July 3, 2012, he transferred from Lone Star Lodge Coyle Springs to Coyle Demoss Lodge number 1152. So he was a member until he was at this time, I'll ask Brother David Harris to recite a poem and offer all of his prayer.
I would like to start also by thanking the family for allowing us to be a part of this. My name is David Harris, I'm the current pastor at Lone Star Lodge number 403. And we like to start these services with a poem and excerpt for you applause from the gentleman. And those who support this who was born in Kansas, Texas in 1876. He was an art educated attorney, doctor, engineer, everything else. He spent most of his life in the Northern
We are assembled here today to perform the last duty of religion and remedies today. We pay our tribute of love and esteem to our departed friend and brother, who is a beloved member of Billy Moss Lodge number 1152, Ancient Tree and Seventh Mason. We mourn the passing of our brother, whose spirit has been summoned into the presence of the Lord and Father of all men. While we are sure that the storms of life may no longer disturb him, we should consider the certainty of death and the vanity of all earthly conditions. From time immemorial, it's been a custom among the fraternity of 3 and 7 Masons that the request for the brother or his family on the last rites for the usual ceremonies of the craft. In conformity to this usage, we are assembled in the character of Masons to offer to the memory of our brother this tribute of our affection. The passing of our brother from the cares and troubles of this transitory existence has removed another link from the fraternal chain by which we are united in man country. Those of us who survive it, we are firmly bound in the ties of friendship and brotherhood. Unto the earth, we consign the body of our deceased brother, and we trustfully leave his spirit in the hands of him who doeth all in the world. For those of his immediate family, we sincerely, deeply, and most affectionately sympathize and do place you in the arms of our Heavenly Father, who brings his most protection to those that put their trust in him. When we look about us, we see the marks of change and decay written on every living thing. And it is a solemn truth that as soon as we begin to live, that moment we begin to die. The faithful and coffin stand side by side. Yet how seldom we consider our own approach and we go on from design to design, add hope to hope, and lay out the plans for the employment of many people. Then the messenger of death comes when we least expect it. What are all the externals of majesty, the pride of wealth, or the charms of beauty when nature has paid for last just day? In the grave, all fallacies are rejected, all ranks saved, all distinctions are done away. Here, the scepter of the prince and the staff of the Lord lie side by side. Let us so see to it and regulate our lives by the full line of justice, as we're squaring our actions by the spur of virtue. Then when you may be called from our labors, you may be found rich. Let us cultivate the noble tenets of our profession, brotherly love, relief, and truth. When the grand word of heaven may call us from our labors on earth, we may with joy obey and go forth into eternal refreshment in the presence of an all-wise God, where because of faith and merits of the line which tribe of you, we may gain admission into a celestial lodge above, where God, the grand architect of the universe, where it resides forever. The landscape of life, the first gift for our brother of Freemasonry, is an emblem of innocence and the badge of Mason. By it, we are reminded of the universal duty of death. The hand of friendship is not interposed or vengeance coming. The wealth of the world is not purpose and intention. Nor can the innocence of beauty or the charm of beauty or the strength of age change the purpose. This evergreen is an emblem of immortality and reminds us of that immortal part within us that shall survive the grave and which shall never die. By it we are reminded that we too, like our brother, shall soon be clothed in the liberty of death. Yet through a believing mercy of God, we will confidently hope that our souls will bloom eternal. Unto the earth, we commit the body of our Lord. The dust shall return to the earth as it was, and the spirit shall return unto God and faith. I'd like to join us in the recital of the Lord's Prayer this time. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, As we go, we pray, oh God, that thy hand will lead us in all the paths of people we call upon prayer. And when the journey of this life is over, we light our immortal home illuminated by our valley, and may the voices of loved ones going before welcome us home to that house not made with hands, eternal in heaven. Amen.
So, Lord,
May the blessings of heaven rest upon us and all wayward faces. May brotherly love prevail, and may moral and social virtue see men. Amen. So, this concludes the part of our talk.
Thank you, gentlemen. Next would be a favorite of Coyle's. I bring to you Grace Prize. approved, and, you're up.
That's all right, sorry. I'll have some time. So, thanks, Jonathan. Thank you, everybody, for helping me this together. You know, we had a little bit of time, but it's going to involve, so I know it's going to be on when I say that. All right, so I'm headed out of town on a golf trip. I'm coming back in, and I'm sitting around, and I wasn't working. I was just trying to get jobs. I got to write something. You know, I got to write, maybe for kids, it's perfect. So I got to get rid of kids, so I'm trying to do that. So maybe I write a song. This doesn't always happen, you know, you can't always have to write a song. This is very good. So anyway, I sat there and I started coming around with it. Now I wrote this in first person. So this is the way I thought my dad would look at my mother at that time, because I didn't know what I said love each other. So I wrote it in first person, and then they came on and played it and went marvelous. But I wrote it in first person to seem weird, and now I look at my wife and I think every word of this was to her. So we're very fortunate. Thank you, everybody. I'll try to come through this. I turned into about a 12-year-old little girl a while back. Oh, this is called Come On Along. It's a hard crowd. It's hard when you love everybody so much, you know. When I was christening my niece, Victoria, I got to play in front of a bunch of people. I was scared shitless thing too. But that means a lot. Yeah, I hope you heard it. So we fast forward. Second option is, so we fast forward. That was when I was in my 20s looking at things, and then, you know, full of hope, and I got everything I wanted because I talked about love and I got all of that and more. But then when I got older, looking at things a little different, so I was trying to do a write a song a week thing. And so I came up with this. I was our partner's friends been hanging out, he was building fences and such for us, and he was out and about, and I went up to him and I said, one word, one phrase, whatever you got top of your head, just come up and say it. They said, well, I guess I'm out here, you know, building a fence for your folks, so I guess I'm thinking about swinging gates and hinges. And I was like, perfect, swinging gates and hinges, and when we get back out the country, it's too crazy in the cities, it's awesome. So a lot of things are in line there, synchronicity or whatever. But, so I've done it real quick, but now looking back, I think it's about looking back on my dad and my mom, and, you know, grandparents were so interesting. You got one who's very colorful, you had one structured, and they were fantastic at everything to be, you know. So. Let's tune up. Perhaps. So, try to capture that. And I'm going to play the last one. I want to thank all of the people that took Dad and Mom in when we got there. I mean, good Lord. My dad sure could make an interesting day. Well, I've heard the old dance song about town days, pitching in their band. I was too much change. I ain't all right. I had no skin in the game. Yeah, I played the long way, but I seen the days came. Swinging days ended with its hand sad. I remember the well, and I'll be the walk trail for me. Well, I heard my mother talk about time days. She never mentioned all her pain, how it was too much shame. I just want to step back to an easier way. We cut people slack and see what I'll say. Swinging gates ended with that his hand says, I remember them well, and I'll be the walk trail for me. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. This last one, so I'm going to couple all that. That's how I'm looking at life right now. If you know, I'm going to could have done this earlier, but the time purpose, we're going to skip to the end. Well, rewind. In an effort to try to get to know my dad's side of life, I decided to drive a truck, and in order to be son of a Marine, I decided to take one of the hardest truck driving jobs there is on the road, and I did it. Now, what I didn't know is that I chronically tragic bad hip from an injury 20 years before. So throwing all that off the right foot was as easy as you might think, I did it. But I went home after I couldn't do it, and I'm feeling pretty strong about not being able to get through a truck driving job, and I know what I'm going to get after. And once again, I'm all night, on that last night, I'm figuring out what to do. I watched a 60 minutes interview that was about, the primary focus was about Sir Nicholas Winton, and he had saved a bunch of children out of Poland during World War II, and pretty much single-handedly saved a lot of lives. And anyway, they called me in, they called us that we're going to be having a World War II memorial, and we'd like to come down. So he's all excited, you know, these old Wilson people that fewer and fewer of them every day. You're still finding these guys that have these stories. So he's going down, I'm sure. Well, what he didn't say is we invited all the kids, the offspring, that had survived. That's really primary all it was. So he did get up and they said, everybody that's alive today because it's Nicholas Winning, please stand up. And everybody in the place stood up except for Nicholas Winning. So he in real time was able to see his influence on the world. And I don't know what that would be like, I can see my dad and influence on the world, so I see the ties in here. And what a magnificent range of person that we have here. Wow, Dad would have really rad. I'm sorry, Mom, I shouldn't have come out, but there you go, Pops. Still keep it alive. My bad. I didn't mean to. Okay, that's an inside joke. It's not that quiet, but it's all right, this last one play, I just recorded this, hopefully we're going to get some legs on getting it out there. I mean, it was thrown together it was a helpful family that afforded me the time to look at this music that I'm, really working on. This is my primary job. I just had to get up and do a regular job, so everybody's to be happy with that. But anyway, that's what we're doing. Thank you. So when they said there were 12,000 souls from the efforts that you gave, that's something I can't say. Trying to defend innocence. The gift of love and roll in a sea that happens all from a red light away. It's an incentive to red. So when I prophesy, we'll keep ancestry. How we used to bend through little compassion, sister.
Great job. Thanks, Derek. Well, the celebration continues. It's going to be a fun part of the celebration. It's going to be some family and friends come forward and Cole's friend would tell some stories. But Mary Ann, I hope they just tell the story once. Because Cole would repeat it several times. As many as 3 or 4. But that's fine. I'm Lee Pritchard. I'm a neighbor that lives down the road, or maybe you said across the patch. Cole and Mary Ann have been great neighbors, dear friends, and it reminds me of a quote that goes like, "A man's success has a lot to do with the woman he chooses to have in his life." Coyle Demoss and I had that common interest because we both, Cole and I, outwitted our coverage. My wife, Teresa Scott Pritchard, passed about 3 years ago this past June. Her and Cole were best friends. Now, I don't know really how that started, except they're both alike from the standpoint they're going to tell you straight up how they feel. And then Mary Ann and I were best friends. In fact, the last conversation I had with Cole, I was going into, Casey and I had flown to College Station. I was going into Kyle Field to a football game, and my phone rings. I'm getting off the shuttle, and I look, and it's Mary Ann on my phone. And I answer, and I said, "Mary Ann." And Cole starts laughing. He said, "I knew if I called you on Mary Ann's phone, you'd answer." I said, "Cole, I'm always answering." If you would remember back a number of years ago, it was the first week in February, Gracie Harrison County, North Texas, the entire state of Texas, Oklahoma was in a major ice storm. I mean, everything was pretty well just shut down. I get a call from Coyle on Marian's phone, and I answered. I was in downtown Houston at a convention, the Gonzales Convention Center, it's the National Cabinet Convention. And Coyle said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I'm sitting up here in the trade show, we're fixing to kick off the trade show." "Oh, how long have you been down there?" "Well, I've been here, 3 or 4 days." "Well, I'm just going to see if you're around." And I said, "No." I said, "Can I help you?" He said, "Yeah, I need a little help." He says, "Mary Ann's in the bathroom, laid out, head split, she's bleeding." I said, "What?" He says, "Mary Ann is laying in the bathroom, lacerations across her head, she's bleeding. I don't know, she kind of thinks she might have broke her neck." And I said, "Call 911. He said, "She didn't want me to." I said, "Call 911. I'm going to call my brother Casey, because the only way for us to get up there is in the ranch truck. And they come to my house, get in the ranch truck, we'll drive." So here he comes, and he gets up there, and the ambulance pulled ahead and called the ambulance. And we asked him to go to Wilson Jones, if I'm correct. Well, Coyle and Casey jump in the ranch truck, and I mean, it's, 10, 15 miles all the way to Wilson Jones. So when they get there, the ambulance, and they're unloading Mary Ann, taking her into the ER, and Casey says, "Coyle, stay in the seat. I'm going to run in here and just see if they're immediately going to take her to the, we're in the ER." And I mean, he said, "Don't get out," because, the complete concrete was all iced over. So the truck was running, he jumps out and into the door of the ranch truck with the truck running full in. As Casey was going into the ER, out comes a lady wearing nothing but her pajamas, barefooted, no top on, and jumps in the truck with Coyle. Casey turns and he falls and just crawls, thinking she's going to put down in the drive and just drive off, because there's a guy right behind her, an RN male nurse, hollering, "Hell, just let her go." Casey said, "I need to let her go in my truck." So they command him to get her out of her truck. So finally, Casey goes and turns around and gets Coyle off in the front door, and they walk in. And, this particular time, they're asking Coyle question after question. "Is your wife? What happened? Did you witness?" He said, "Wait just a minute before you ask me all those questions." And they said, "What?" He said, "Wherever that lady's taking and jumped in the truck with me, I want some of that." That's just the way Coyle was with that Mary Ann. One other quick story, and you will know because I wasn't around at that particular time. Casey and Jack, my dad was Jack Pritchard. Casey Pritchard had come to was it a birthday party? Coyle's 60th birthday party. And they flown into DFW because they'd been, I think, at Pendleton Rodeo, and they'd come in and went right straight to the birthday party. Well, Coyle was talking about a time that he had some hogs out, gilts out, trying to catch them. Mary Ann called, "Let's call Jack." They can't, because Coyle, he was going to shoot, right? I mean, just shoot. So anyway, Jack gets there and he just loads it. And Coyle looks at him, and Dad looks at Coyle, and he said, "Coyle, you got to be smarter than the hog to make it come in." So that was Jack. But anyway, we're going to ask some people to come forward here and to share some stories with you. First up is Joe Bob. Here he comes, right here.
where it starts a long time ago. Coyle and I have known each other for 62, 63 years. Some of the stories I'm going to tell, I had to agree with you. And if some of the things I say are doing, just remember the basis of the talk. Coyle was truly an original. Coyle's idea of death and life went something like this. Life journey is not to arrive at the grave safely in a well-deserved life, but rather to skid in its sufferings, totally breathless, worn out, shouting, "Damn, what a life!" Also, Coyle told me one time, he said, "Joe," he said, "I don't want to lay in a coffin with my face down and pancake and looking like I'm sucking on a soda cracker." I said, "I can understand that." So anyway, he said, "That's not the way I want to be remembered." And so, seeing this get together is, I know that Coyle wanted. Coyle's relationship with me and my family and his family go back. Our friendship has been through tears, through laughs. Coyle, when he went down with a case of mercy, was my time to cry. Coyle called me and he said, "Joe, I shook hands with Grim Reaper, and he's ugly as hell." We met through a mutual friend in the 10th grade. We were from two different schools. He was from Capitol Hill, I was from Choctaw. Capitol Hill at that time was known as the rough school. I mean, really rough school. Still is. Choctaw was kind of out of the country, but we knew if we got into trouble, we could call our friends from Capitol Hill back up. And any other school that wanted to match with Capitol Hill and Choctaw, they thought about it very seriously before they made a move. So, as we got out of high school, and we went our separate ways for a while. Well, at that time, I think, headed for the Marines, and I headed for the Air Force. Coyle's humor was always a part of our interaction together. We had such a good time together, but most of the time, I was the butt of the joke. One day in Atlanta, when we were in college, Coyle called me over and said, "Joe, come over here." And he had this huge beaker. He says, "You want to smell this. This is the most aromatic thing I've ever put together." And like an idiot, I stuck my nose in it. And it was pure sulfuric acid in the morning. So when I woke up, and I got up off the floor, Coyle was laughing, and I didn't do anything but laugh too, because I was still knocked out. There was a time Coyle would come up to the house, and we would talk on the phone off and on all during the week, and sometimes we'd go a month maybe. We always talked to each other. He was the one person I could talk to, tell stories to, lie to, whatever it took. But I knew for sure that whatever I said to Coyle would stay with Coyle. And the same with him. Whatever he said to me stayed with him. And that's the way it's going to stay. spent a lot of time together that afternoon and talked and had a great time. It was starting to get dark. And he said, well, I guess I better head back south. It's getting dark. I said, okay. So I drove him out to the airport, which was close to our house. And before he got to his plane, we stopped. He was getting ready to get in his plane. He said, hey, Joe, you got a flashlight? I said, yeah, I got a flashlight. He said, I need to borrow it. I said, okay, fine. What do you need a flashlight for? He says, the lights on my instrument pad don't work. And I need a light. So I was watching my friend prepare himself to fly. And I look up and here comes, I call him Demoss. And I'll explain that later. But here comes Demoss down the runway, with wide open throttle, with flashlight in his mouth. And I'm thinking, I'll never see him again. He took off with that flashlight in his mouth. And I made him promise that when he got home, he would call me. So I went home and I waited, and I waited, and I waited. It's not working. I said, I'll let you put that thing down somewhere. Well, in about an hour more, the phone rang, and it was Demoss. I said, where you been? I was getting ready to call the Civil Air Patrol. He said, well, you know, I was doing fine. He said, all I had to go do was fly south, find a river, make a turn, left-hand turn, follow the river, and I would see the ground, I see everything. I said, where are you? He says, I'm down by Texarkana. You're on the way. So anyway, he put it home safe, don't ask me how. I have another story to tell about flying. One time, Paul took me up in his plane and we were flying around. We were flying over the lake out there. And for some reason, he looked at me and he said, you want to fly? I said, not really. And he said, well, you were in the Air Force. Fly this damn thing. He turned loose with that airplane and we took a ride. For sure. It was up and down and around. And he finally grabbed the controls again and took over. When Coyle was up in the diving school, Mary Ann had to come back here. She was going to give birth to a child. I told Coyle, don't worry about it, I'll sit in. So I went up to I wasn't much help, but the fact that I was there for just a while made me feel a little bit. I mean, not Mary Ann. She probably felt real in the spirit. Tell you a little background about myself is that I was in the service, like I said, in the Air Force. Coyle was in the Marines. He was very proud to be a Marine. He talked about the Marines. Marines is the Marines that Marines is. I was captain. I was in the 137th Airborne Command. And I was in the crypto, which is coding and decoding of top secret messages. So I was always kind of impressed with all that knowledge I had. And all I ever heard was Marines, Marines, Marines. Anyway, the friendship has always been there, and it always will be. And I'll end this with what Coyle told me to tell all of you. So I'm not going to take responsibility for this. What I say next is all on Coyle. Okay, here we go. Another thing. I had to cut out some of this because who's crying here. Anyway, my wife, my daughters were with me, and there was some secrets I couldn't tell, because that would probably incriminate me, so they got lost on the shuffle. You'll have to use your imagination here, but remember, this was the Marine, okay? All right. Didn't want to be too repeat to you. Use your imagination. This is an M1 rifle. This is my rifle. This is my gun. This is for killing, and this is for fun.
Thank you. As we move forward, right before we call you up, Mary had several letters that came in and asked if I would share with those. And this first one is from Bugs, Ronnie, and Sandra Brown. And as I start, one of our most fun trips was Cayman Island in November 1984. The condo we rented belonged to Paul Newman. Now, this was a trip from Coyle and Marianne, Sandra, and Bugs. So Sandra says the condo we rented belonged to Paul Newman. That was a thrill in itself. Well, when I first read that, I thought, Melinda, that Sandra, it was a thrill thinking she was in bed with Paul Newman and not Bugs. That was really a big thrill. One night, the island had an outdoor dance. The band was playing 50s and 60s music, which was right down our alley. We danced on a large concrete slab, laughing and having a great time. When all of a sudden, one of us four went missing. Guess which one? Coyle, of course. Bugs found him laying on the ground, legs crossed, head resting in hands, right below the bandstand, listening to the music. After the dance, we climbed in the rented Jeep to take in the night lights of the island. Bugs drove. Coyle sat shotgun, and Sandra and Marianne sat in the back seat. Bugs suddenly went back 20 years to driving like a teen. It would have been more than 20 years. It was driving fast, shifting gears and burning rubber. We were laughing and screaming like teens. The Jeep was a convertible. The top started coming loose at the front windshield with Coyle hanging on to it. You guessed it, Coyle let go of the top, and within 2 seconds, we were riding in a convertible. We had a camera set up by seconds that to get in the picture set up before the camera snapped. Coyle unzipped his pants before jumping in front of the camera. Without anyone being aware of what he had done, the picture came back developed after our trip. Marianne was looking through the stacks when she came to the picture of us four. Marianne said, "What a good picture of us four." Then she discovered Coyle's unzipped pants. Marianne yelled, "Coyle, who would want this picture?" Coyle replied, "My mother." On a trip to Lake, it gets better. On a trip to Lake Caddo Lake, Bugs Coyle went fishing. After going to bed, Bugs kept smelling a strong fish smell. He felt under his pillow, and there were 2 fish in his pillowcase. Guess who put them there? Several years back, Coyle gave me a small copper ashtray that belonged to his mother, Vicky. I keep the ashtray in my kitchen window, and I often think of Vicky. Now, I will think of Coyle and all the fun the 4 of us had. Trips, boating to the lake, Lions meeting, Christmas parties, sitting on the pool, talking on. Of course, we may not be able to remember all of the BS stories. down and rode. Yet she ran a stop sign. Here came this young cop up to the car, giving Vicky a speech about driving. Vicky looked at the officer and said, "Sonny, now again, I'm just reading this." Sandra pinned the letter. "Sonny, I was just driving when you were," how do you want me to put this here? While you were, we don't really just while you were shitting, jealous, so give me a ticket and get out in a hurry. So now you know how Paul and I got his personality. Our last trip we called in Marion was to eat at Wyndham Buffet style. Afterwards, we drove around sightseeing View Lake and Fannin County. It was a nice, pretty day. We drove to remember Call. Call, we will catch up with you later. Until then, we sure will miss you and thank you often. Bugs, Sandra Brown. Gordon Harris. You're up.
So I am from London here, and I was blessed to grow up with the Demosses because they have been my friend since we were 10 years old when the Demosses bought their farm in 1978 and moved to Vegas. And when Marion asked me, would I tell a story? I shouldn't say ask. I don't think Marion ever asked me. Marion told me that I would do this. I did not always and said yes, ma'am. And so when she told me she wanted me to say something in full celebration about some stories, I felt, I don't know, totally inadequate because everyone said, what was the ultimate storyteller over the years? And he told me countless stories, many times over, and, you know, that was just the way, I think, in kind of full-time life, he was trying to teach me life lessons, a lot of it at the time. But I find it real hard to think about Coyle without saying Coyle and Marianne, or Marianne and Coyle, because they're just synonymous with each other, you know, they're always together. I mean, they work together every day, and it was seldom that they were apart. And so a lot of Coyle stories were about me growing up. From the time we spent Maureen, I heard lots of Maureen stories too. And sometimes when he was finished, I would think that they were so sad. And he would just look at me like, you know, what's that about? That's just how life is. I know many dads are really proud of their children. And even though he might have always said those words, I know Coyle was extremely proud of David and Derek and his grandchildren, Patty and Victoria. And it's funny, I've been in education for a lot of years, and so I'll hear lots of parents and inappropriate things in the stands and stuff now, but, you know, back in the day, people didn't do that. But Coyle did. And he was the only one, you could only hear Coyle Demoss in his big, booming, loud, and clear voice in that old Bell's gym. Sometimes he was cheering, sometimes he was complaining, but he was always so proud, I know, of Dana and playing basketball. Of course, I was out of school several years, you know, by the time Derek was playing football in Denison. But I stopped by the house one day, and all he could talk about was Denison was in the playoffs, and Derek was in the playoffs, and, you know, Derek was fabulous. And so he invited me and Rich to go to one of the playoff football games. And I said, sure, we'll go. So we went, of course, Denison won. We had to hear all about how great Derek was, all the car ride home. And they were feeding the team after, so we stopped and ate with the team and everything. And, you know, he, of course, he was so generous as always, paid for us to eat with them and had such a good time. And he was just so generous in so many ways. And I got to reap the benefits of Coyle's generosity many times. I definitely got the best deal out of me and David being friends, I can assure you that. Some of these things are weird, and they don't sound like a big deal. I was kind of laughing when I was thinking about them. But for a little country girl growing up in the 80s in the small town of Dallas, Texas, they were. And so being friends with Dana, I too got to have a charmed childhood and grow up way more privileged beginning, this was my beginning. Because other than Mosses, I needed to take lots of fabulous trips to the Canyons and Aruba and Mexico, and seeing new things and scuba diving and parasailing as a teenager that I would never have been able to do without him. Mary Ellen, she'd call my mother and say, you know, she used to have some swimsuits and some shorts and 4 sundresses or whatever. And a little big chick from South Texas going, my mama Harper showed me made sundresses that I wore on the trips that we took to these places. But I always had so much fun on all these adventures. And what a cool had took us or sent us. Sometimes he sent us without him. I don't know what he was doing. Sometimes he was trying to get away from us, I guess. I would always thank him so much. And he would always say, I just want my kids to have a better life than I had. I want them growing up better than I did. And you're one of them. And I wasn't the only one with that dream life family. Coyle and Miriam were so gracious and welcoming to all. They used to have a huge 4th of July party. And I seriously think the whole town of Bell's came. I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody was there. And such a good time. Everyone loved it. New Year's Eve parties, I just can't even think of all the things they had. Of course, the 4th of July party was the pool. And this sounds crazy now too, but they had the only pool of anyone we knew. Nobody else had a pool. And so it was the community pool. I mean, it was like the whole town of Bell's came to the pool all the time. And so I just have so many fun and wonderful memories growing up on the Demoss farm. But they didn't stop after high school. You know, I continued to stop by the Demoss's house, especially on the holidays. When they would come in, lots of Eric's friends would come in and they would stay. And not only did that come, they brought their families and their dogs and kids and, I mean, just everything in the world. And they were so welcoming. I mean, Christmas vacation had nothing on the Demoss house. So they just at any time. And I can remember thinking, oh, where was that? All these people and dogs and kids and stuff coming today that Mary did. And they were just so welcoming. And Lee was talking about the big storm the other day. Huge storm in November of 2000. An ice storm came on Christmas night, November of 2000, and knocked out all the power lines and bells and everything. We were remodeling our house at the time. And me and Rich and our 3-year-old son were living with my mother while we were remodeling our house. And her husband Ron had hit a transformer there, knocked everything out. There was no electricity for 10 days. This was my Christmas break. I was trying to kind of enjoy some stuff. It didn't happen. So when this happened, we moved over to my dad's house because he just had a fireplace. So we're living there like we're at a hunting camp with coal and stoves out in front of the fireplace and all that. And Mary calls to check on me. And I tell her what we're doing and she wouldn't have it. I mean, she just insisted that we come stay with her because they have electricity, they have water. Come, bring your husband, bring your kid, bring your dog, your cat. And I mean, that's just the way it's always been with it. I will say, I love Coyle Demoss. It wasn't perfect. He could be crotchety. There were times where it wasn't my favorite. Mary had this old blue Buick, and we thought we were hot stuff when we got to drive that. And so some of us had gone one night and we'd gone and we were cruising and going to the Jack in the Box and just doing stuff that teenagers do. And the next day, she comes and tells us what to clean the car all up because we had got it filthy. And really, I don't think it's too much dirtier than we left, but you know, I think he used us as child labor. So we worked so hard in there to drive it. We washed it and waxed it and dried it and, you know, detailed the inside. He comes up there with an inspection and decides it wasn't good enough. And he can write his name on the side of the car, so we had to redo that. And then he comes out with Q-tips and makes us use Q-tips to clean around all the little control panels on the door and all the stuff and do all that. So he wasn't my favorite dad. And I did love the stories about him growing up. And he told me one time about when he was a teenager, his mother told him to go mow the yard. And he said no, he didn't think he was going to. And she said, yes, you are. He said, no, you're not, and you can't make me because I'm too big for you to spank. Anyway, she said, well, you're probably right, but you have to go to sleep sometime. And when you do, I've got a big old black skillet, and I'm going to beat the shit out of you. And I said, well, what'd you do, Coyle? And he said, I cleaned it up the yard.
Good job doing that. Before call Morris, I'd like to cite a letter that was penned by Bobby Household. One of my favorite Demoss stories occurred when he was going through the Sheriff's Citizens Academy. This academy will allow citizens to attend classes to learn more about the inner workings of the Sheriff's Office and other county functions. During one of these classes, we were talking about the jail of prisoners. The lawyer that was conducting the class brought up the subject of prisons and conditions concerning housing. He started talking about the chance of prisoners being housed in tents. He said that there was a group protesting this. The lawyer then asked a question that I needed the answer to before he finished asking it. He asked if anyone had an opinion about this. I knew Dr. Demoss would be sure to have an opinion. About that time, he said he had an opinion about it. He wanted to know what was wrong with prisoners living in tents. He said he didn't understand why people were concerned about this because no one seemed to worry about me and Bobby sleeping in tents when the only thing we did wrong was sign the dotted line to enlist in the Marine Corps. Signed Bobby Household. Morris.
This thing will reach me up here as soon as we got here. I'm Morris Colley. Cole was my volleyball for 30 years. And I met him when I was just being down a little bit when we came in town, Steve at Boston, for parents meeting. So it's August of 1987, and here walks in this big personality, grown-ass man, and brash, and loud, and I like to meet him. And I'm like, okay, I want to get to know him. I want to get to know Mary Ann. I obviously get to know Dan. And as I started to spend time with him, we've been dating a couple months. Dan invites me to drive up from Austin for Christmas and join them for Christmas Day. I just wanted to spend time with Dan and her family. And I show up and I had a better Christmas with Coyle and Mary Ann and Dan than I'd ever had at my house. Because my dad was a little bit Texas Ranger. And he didn't believe in a whole lot of gifts and a whole lot of all this flaw and pomp and circumstances that we had work to do. So I was overjoyed and blown away by the generosity of Coyle and Mary Ann. And so as I looked at this, spent time with Coyle, and I ended up getting married 10 months later. I just thought it was too quick, but we did that anyway. And we got married, and I spent so much time with Coyle, playing golf, doing things. He was so incredibly generous. And I was like, it's as crazy as it's going to sound, like, I want Coyle to be my mentor. And he's not a traditional mentor. So a lot of conversations you got to listen to the side, right? You say, that's, I don't want to take that, there's other things I'm going to take. So I learned generosity from him. Because again, my dad, a West Texas Ranger, who tied his bar by trade. So we just didn't spend money, we just didn't do all those things. And so I watched him be generous with me and his friends and everybody around him. I was like, that's what I'm going to take. So there's that. And then I also was thinking about going to law school and taking that big leap. Pat was 6 months old. I quit a job, went to real estate, go to law school, didn't have any money, no plan, was going to go do this, make it happen. And so I'm going to sit down at the floor, give him this speech about having to take care of your daughter, your grandson, and do all this stuff. And he looks at me like, you got it, I got you. Don't worry about married, grandpa, you're going to be fine. Cole's only Mary Ann's fault did for us, but I just know you got this, I'm going to take care of it. And again, that compliments of me, that he was generous, and so I'm going to take that with him again, just to show up for your family. So, a few years later, we're thinking about this, and we go to Cayman Islands, and Cole, Mary Ann, and Dan and I, and Cole's doing what he's doing. he's harassing the waitress, she's doing all these different things, and I'm just sitting back enjoying it. And I remember him handing the credit card to the waitress. And she said, Dr. Demoss, because Coyle rarely introduced himself to Dr. Demoss, because he was Coyle. He didn't take doctor who he was, it's just what he did for a living. Want to take that decision? I went on working for 24 years and never take yourself too seriously about being what you do for a living, be who you are, and honor that. Another great lesson. And finally, just being silly. I'm really, my core, I'm not just a silly person. And my dad was a silly person. But I watched him, especially with my grandchildren, what a tremendous grandfather he was, doing all kinds of silly things. I didn't think an old man could get under a dining room table, would put on pink hats, and have a tea party with my daughter. But there he was, all sitting Indian style, doing the whole thing, and I thought, I need to take that as well. That's something I wouldn't take when I was a grandfather, when I was my kids. These are the lessons and the things he imparted to me that I want to make sure my son and my daughter, Dana, can learn and see from me. Generosity, to take yourself easy, be silly, be authentic, be who you are. And I really appreciate that. And all that time, the whole time, Coyle treated me better than I could ever expect he deserved to be treated. And I really appreciate that. I love him so much, and I really appreciate him.
Very well said. It kind of reminds me of a story that before we get Joe back up, that you and the family had just come home from the College of the Mines graduation. And Coyle came up and he got on the couch. He was telling the tree tonight. He said, we were asking about the graduation and the trip and things. And he said, well, let me tell you a little about the graduation. And he says, you know how fit Dana is? And I said, yeah, every time she's home, she's laying by here and, her media selection. I know exactly. And he says, let me tell you. He said, we got up there and they were, really proud to go back into the graduation. But I guess your mom had gone into a convenience store and maybe not knowingly got some guns. And she got to eating these guns. And anyway, to get over to the graduation, outdoor graduation, and she said, that was hungry as hell. Did anybody have any candy bars? She was just throwing these candy bars down her mouth. And then they go up to the graduation, and Coyle says, Dana, you left the keys in the car. He says, Dana says, what the hell is a red car anyway, Dad? So, anyway, yes, you had. You're up.
First of all, it's going to be hard to talk the stories that's been coming up. I guess I've known him for probably close to 50 years. And I used to live in Indiana. And when he comes to visit, I would turn my mom over there. Usually come by and see us too. So we saw heard lots of stories as well. But I guess at the end of the time I lived in Denver, we went on a fishing trip up to Alaska, and I got to really know Coyle and all the guys really well. We had just a great time. But it's hard to talk about. He's got stories all right. Year or so later, or like that, I moved into the Dennis area, and I lived in the whole this over Dennis, so it was real handy. The work I always did, like the work, some air conditioning work. He always had things that needed to be fixed around his office and stuff. We worked on everything from examination tables to lights, whatever, always something to be fixed. So when I get out to his house, he he was had project going on in his garage. I remember this one time, he collected cars, and I'm talking to other people, they had lots of cars and stuff like that. Well, this time I walked in there, and there's this car in there, and he's telling me about it. I don't remember the brand of it, the make of it, but he had a video of it. And this car was, it, for some reason, turned over, rolled or whatever, and it always turned up on its wheels. And they had a video, so we looked at the video, and it was driving along, and something happened, and everything started rolling down the hill, and got to the lawn, there it was, sitting on the right. They started it up, drove it off. I said, wow. Well, I don't know if they ever got that car running, but evidently somebody else came by and bought it on the internet. But I remember this one time I was out there at the house, and we were having trouble with our truck, our vehicle. So that old truck over there hadn't been used. I said, well, how about we just buy that truck from you? So it ends up, we ended up with the truck, but we didn't know what to call the truck. So, because all the vehicles had names. So we finally got home, and I know they had, was it boxers? The car, they had boxers, and then boxers were everywhere, including the truck. So when we got home, we figured out the name of that truck. It was the Harry truck. So it's to this day, it's still So anyway, all I can say is Cole is, he's been really, like you said, generous, and he's always helped me. I worked at Pillsbury for as long as they were open, and I know when I first got up there, and also walking on concrete, and he definitely helped me out on my feet and all that. It's just awesome. So the main thing because Cole is a big thanks, and thanks for being in the celebration. See you.
Celebration of life is Doug Boyd makes his way up. Another letter that I would like to recite from Nancy Anthony. I met Cole just before I went back to Europe. Little did I know that Cole was going to be part of my life from then on. So Cole became my brother. From then on, I qualified for the tease list. No one can tease a person better than Coyle Demoss. Amen. I know I certainly got my share. He remembered everything he had ever done, and occasion would bring it up. At just the right time to done. It was always a good fun, and it was always fun. We always ended up in pearls of laughter. I always enjoyed just talking to Cole. He was so well read. You could talk to him on many different topics. Learned a lot from him. I will always cherish the last time we were all together in Georgia. It was such a fun time. I didn't want you all to go home. Cole, you were my brother, and I love you. I miss you terribly. The world has lost a wonderful man, husband, father, and friend. He was all of those things. Very end, I share with you your grief. Rest in peace, Cole.
You have to get this up.
This is really not, Coyle's going to get a in this whole world that we're in, I think everybody should understand that there was never any question about Coyle's opinion. He's amazing. If you're ever marking behind this guy, this one, he was a business guy. I first met Coyle when we were in Cleveland, Ohio, but I just spoke. It was kind of like one of the country. And it didn't take long for the Texans and Oklahoma guys to get together and support each other. He also got to get a night job at Cleveland Clinic where we were working in a chemistry class. So we went to school there and supported ourselves. the chemistry lab. Our supervisor there in the chemistry lab was a kind of stoic, black fellow that tried to be a tough guy sometimes. He's around 4 to 10 minutes and he's written for years like that stuff. He was always great to be around. I want to tell a story on Derek. It was in the last year of school club, we were in a working out. They were in Lubbock, and he was working over there with Gene Cioli. And they had a brick house out there. I seen when they did the 1 month training in Lubbock. And I'm standing in front of the Coyle, and Derek was evidently 2 or 3 years old. He goes running across. He falls and he hits his head right in the corner of that Greg Planner's box. You know, he hits that crease over here. When I look at his horror, of course, about him. And Derek gets up and says, "It's crazy." Doesn't say a word and off he goes. So I think, boy, you're going to have a football player. And I think that was that. He was acting like a football player. One of the good story in the world was we were at a seminar in Bandera on Main Newbridge. And we went down there to the election session, and folks need this mountain bird hiding this thing. And the folks about to investigate, see what it is. It's a coral snake. It gets a glass jar, somehow gets this coral snake, puts it in his jar. And we sleep with it in our cabin, and I didn't sleep hardly at all. And that snake did it. And my favorite, I'll make it short, I know this is wasting the time. My favorite coral story is, again, in Tim and I was getting started a malpractice insurance company there, very smart. The group was out to dinner one night, I think it was the Monster Club. Anyway, one of the Cayman restaurants, 2-story, and one of the top stories on the pass, and looking at over the Caribbean, there's at least a dozen, maybe 15. And when everybody's finished, we got a great time. And we can't get the check. And everybody's trying to get hold of the waiter. All of a sudden, Cole gets up, stands up on the chair, takes his shirt off, and waves it over his head. We got the cover. We lost our oldest son about over 10 years ago. And when Sarah and I left the ceremony, we were walking out and he went for a minute. And I looked up, Coyle were there. I hadn't seen him at least a few years. That person, that is so much. Anyway, sorry very much. One legacy. I mean, he's a great dog. He's a loyal lifetime friend, a comedian, and disagree with it. That laugh and it still expresses that. I'm going to miss him. Love you guys.
There it is. You're making your way up. I have a story here from Thomas and Nikita Williams. Paul has been a close friend for nearly 50 years. bonded and became very close friends. Our personalities and also our background as Marines and aviation industries were a factor. While I was in Vietnam, wife Nikita went to graduate school at Southeastern with Dorothy Hudson. Her husband, L.A., would bring Dorothy over from Sherman and babysit my Euro daughter, Laura, while Nikita and Dorothy went to school. Finally, me, Marion, L.A.'s sister, produced a strong bond also. Over the years, we have many cherished memories of Coyle and Marion. We miss Coyle so much. I was asked to remember stories about Coyle to make the occasion as lighthearted as possible. Although we recall several stories concerning Coyle, here's one that I remember the most. Coyle liked to stop by the house unexpectedly, which we enjoyed very much. At times it would be to show off a new car or other news events. He remembered the time when Coyle came over and bought a recent purchased car. I didn't think about it when he came into the house, but he had for several days been infested by blackbirds and flew into our trees to roost over the night. As we listened to the sound of the bird chattering became noticeable inside the house. We visited for quite a while, and then it was time to go see the car. It was a convertible. Putting it together, birds, trees, convertible. It took us quite a while and much effort to get Coyle ready for his journey home. Other than this was a great visit. We love you, Coyle and Marion.
My name's Nevin. I'm Derek's, one of Derek's closest friends. I've known Derek and the Demoss family since I was 10 years old. A lot of good stories, a lot of great times over at their house. And Derek and I growing up, we've been brothers. Couple stories. Coyle was larger than life with his big stature, his voice, and his confidence. He could pretty much talk himself into and out of any situation. And Derek and I, fortunately, got to witness that a few times growing up. The first one, when we were about 12 years old, Coyle was driving Derek and I back to Bells on Highway 69. I think the speed limit kind of was 55 miles an hour or so. Coyle was going a little fast, and the new cop decided to pull us over. First time we ever pulled a white cop for me. So Derek and I were a little nervous. Coyle casually pulls over, gets out his license, his insurance, steps out of the car. The officer explains to him that he's speeding, and Coyle just casually looks at him and says, "I was only going 59, 59. Officer's kind of taken aback. I'm like, "Okay, sir, thank you very much. Give us a warning, and we go on our way." Derek and I were very impressed. Don't try next time. Next story, a few years later, Derek and I were 18 years old, and Coyle took us to a concert down in Dallas. After the concert, Coyle spontaneously had this idea that he would take Derek and I to an adult establishment. Anyway, this is our first time, obviously, and as we walk into the club, the bouncer looks at Derek and me, and he looks at Coyle, and he just says, "How old are these two kids?" Coyle pulls out his wallet, grabs a crisp bill, and he says, "50." Entry granted, so. He was on his best behavior, yeah, it was just one of those rites of passage for him. It was good. Last story, I was 25 years old, I was in Pensacola, I was a Marine lieutenant, and I was about Well, they almost didn't make it because at Love Field at the airport, Coyle forgot he packed his pistol in his carry-on bag. And this is pre-9/11, so things weren't quite as serious or as strict, but still, bringing a gun to airport security is a big no-no, and it could even be a felon, I'm not sure. But only Coyle can get away with something, so egregious.
I know the story.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. And I'm sure I wasn't there, but I'm sure he talked to security and he said, "It's just a 22, what's the problem? It's just a small revolver, come on."
Who am I gonna shoot with that?
Yeah. I forgot, what you right. So, I'm pretty sure he talked the officer into holding on to the pistol for him until we got back on the trip and everything was successful. But once again, he's one of those few individuals who can get away with something that was a business.
And they didn't tell the end of the story. The
Please.
end of the story was, he turned to the guy that was giving him a hard time about the pistol and said, "You take good care of that gun, because I'll be back for you." And he was.
True to his word, he collected the pistol. But anyway, thanks, Coyle. Been a big supporter growing up. Love you. And I really respect you very much.
As Steve Hudson is making his way up, it reminds me of the name I'm familiar with for Mary Ann Hudson. And I remember during my travels of coming home from travels in my day job, business and livestock, I had gone through Colgate, Oklahoma. And I was telling Dr. Demoss about pulling over, and there was a monument there in Colgate, and reading about the Hudson Country Store. And I was just pretty much reciting the monument, because I was impressed. And called, said, "Wait just a minute, did it say anything on there about me marrying Mary Ann, taking her out of Poda, Colgate, and she didn't even have a pair of shoes?" I said, "No, it wasn't on there." Steve Hudson.
I'm going to be very brief, and I wanted to ask you guys, probably this time you need a chance to stretch out a little bit. So, Coyle Demoss, ever worked on your feet? I want you to stand up. That's all you need to know about Dr. Coyle Demoss.
Rosemary? Councilwoman.
Well, I'm Rosemary. I first met the Moss family in 1975, management and to keep the children down there. So the best thing I can do. What are you going to do? Anyway, I first met the Moss family in 1975 when I entered and asked in the paper to babysit the Moss children. And thank God every day I did, because reason being that later on in 1987, I had the privilege of going to work for him in the office for 22 years before he got sick of MRSA. But anyway, best time of my life was never, ever dreading going to work a single day. And they hired me as a medical assistant / from office / whatever Mary Ann wants me to do.
like to read from Greer and Andrea Summers. I remember Paul from junior high, tall and skinny. We are on a renewed journey, no longer grade schoolers. Time moved on and we finished high school. I married Greer Summers, and by then Cole went into the Marine Corps, and we didn't see him for a while. Then one day, a knock on the door, and there he stood with Mary Ann, his new wife. They were living in Edmond, Oklahoma, and Cole was going to Central States. They would come to the city, or Greer and I would go to Edmond. We both were broke, and we would pull what resources we could go to the Bronco movie theater and have popcorn and a drink, all for $5. They moved to Cleveland, Ohio, so Cole could go attend school. We lost contact, then found out that they had moved to Texas. He was never a Texas man, always an Okie. We would go to the lake with the kids, and when they left home, we would play golf together, travel to hot springs, and play all weekend. Time together that I cherish. We all think we have more of it, but as we age and health becomes fragile, mine evolves. He and Greer would talk monthly. Cole was as good as a girlfriend for me. I would have to straighten him out every now and then, but I have been truly blessed to have a friend who stood the test of time. I love you.
For those of you that don't know me, I'm Adam Bader. My mom, Clea, is Coyle's sister, youngest sister. I've known Coyle my whole life. Some of my earliest memories growing up were on the farm, meeting cousins, hanging out there for many, many years of my growing up. Thanksgiving was at one of 3 houses, and it rotated, and I loved it every year. Every time I ran back around the farm, it just was some of the best times. And on top of that, unfairly, I was envious of Dan and Eric. I just felt like you had the perfect life. I mean, from my young, I was little, and just get to grow up and do the things you did. You were the coolest people, and you had the coolest friends. And in the summers, Mom and Dad would ship us off to Will and Randy's house, and they always had stocked fridge of food and planned events for us to do, video games. I mean, they went above and beyond. We would spend a week or 2 a year at the house, and it was we drove by today. Cohen and I drove by today just to remember what the house was, and it changed so much. But it just always brings back good memories. As I got older and met my wife, I distinctly remember being a hard time for Coyle. I've had to remember that. How many years have we all married?
6.
Twice as long as I was married. I can't imagine losing my partner. So he always, every time I would see him after I got married, he would remind me how despicable it was that I had crammed wedding cake in my wife's face at her wedding. And he thought she hung the moon. He was super fond of Jessica and made it just abundantly known that if I screwed up and something happened, he was keeping her and leaving me behind. And was unapologetic about it. Growing up, you're busy playing and wanting to be entertained and running around the farm, having a good time. As I got older and brought my kids down, it was really nice to just sit around. He could tell a story. And I wish I could remember in detail some of the stories in the RS he got into, and super supportive of what I do. I don't know, I am a police officer, I've been a police officer for 24 years. At some point, he got my work email, and I have hundreds of emails that he's forwarded to me, and it's stuff from Trump and Biden, Marine Corps to law enforcement, as well as humorous stories and comments, some appropriate for work, most not. Nevin was telling a story about getting pulled over and Coyle was able to get out of it. I went back in my email and I emailed my mom for it, and it says, this is Coyle's latest escapade. He asked me to forward it to you. It's kind of long, stay with me here. Well, here I am in hot water again. Who would have figured? A worn-out old doctor who's a little more than taking care of my wife, rehabilitation for back surgery, and attend Masonic Lodge once a month. I'm due in court on before December 10, 2015. My heinous crime lead driving an automobile with unknown burnout turnover. The details of the story are, I was in the Exxon subway about 2 weeks ago, and a lady in front started telling me how she was ticketed in Dallas, Texas for not signaling the stop at Highway 56 and 69. This is the only stoplight on the metropolis of Dallas. Apparently, she was leaving the gas station, parked getting onto 56 to turn left on 69. The driveway is less than 50 feet from the signal. After signaling the turn, she was pulled over and ticketed for failure to signal at least 150 feet from the intersection. I apologized to her and told her how silly it would be going 100 feet in the wrong direction just to comply. Didn't make me proud of living Dallas. Fast forward to this Saturday, having returned from my back to the blue t-shirt sale for the lodge at Oktoberfest, I filled my car Exxon. After filming, I noticed the city police car sitting on Highway 69 by the driveway. I paid and drove down to the opening of the driveway, parked my car, and started walking towards the police car. The policeman got out of the car, meeting me halfway, and said, "What do you want?" I started pointing at the Exxon and telling the lady's story. Before I could finish, he said, wait, what does this have to do with you? I told him I was appalled that this could occur with my police force, of which he snickered and told me it was none of my business. I disagreed that anything happens with the town, with the name on reflects on its citizens in town. At this point, I realized why the lady got the ticket, and I told him I needed no further explanation. He told me to stop and he would answer my question. At that point, I told him the question had already been answered. Went to my car, signaled my right turn on 69, and signaled my left turn to the store, proceeded when the light changed to continue the grocery store. Well, didn't quite make it. Got followed with a Christmas lights to the store. Came up to my car with the intention to write me a ticket for not signaling. I said, "What are you doing? F with me now?" Which was a redundant question. I knew he was. He got my license and while writing my ticket, I checked my turn signal. Sure enough, the bulb was burned out. He saw me check, he said he had an defective equipment to the ticket. I asked how he knew it was a defective bulb, and he said he saw me check it, and then stated, "I'm not as dumb as I look." I said, "You hadn't proved that to me yet." He told me how long I had to contact the judge and the consequences of not doing so. I'm sure the next time you hear from me, I'll be doing my time. So life goes on. Coyle. That's just one of the many stories that I had. I don't know how it turned out. I gave it my 2 cents and told him that he probably should have fixed. And where to find it was. It wasn't like I was going to break the bank. But that's true. He did break the law. Anyway, I love you, your family, and I love Coyle. I miss him for forever in my memories. Thank you.
Buddy Brown, as you're making your way up, I will cite a letter from our dear friend in Bells, Harold Kraft. We were blessed in the summer of 1978 to get a new kid in the neighborhood. I first met Mary Ann and Dana as they walked up to say they were new in the neighborhood. They had seen the girls playing in the yard. The Mosses also had a son, Derek. Call came by later and met Johnny. Now these were two different guys, one introvert and the other extrovert, who became the best of friends and lots of laughs and respect for each other. We enjoyed going to Dallas to eat, taking a few short shows, and definitely Panther Hall. These were high-class places for our budgets. When Johnny got sick and refused company, thank God for Coyle. He would just come in and talk. Always made Johnny feel better. But if asked, Johnny would say he didn't need company. It was Coyle and Mary Ann who were just quietly by my side during Johnny's last few moments before leaving us, and I will never forget the feeling of peace and love I got from their long-time friendship. Oh yes, on my last visit not long ago, I took my new kitty and to see Coyle and Mary Ann. Coyle just let my kitty crawl all over him. I love that guy and miss him. He was such a good person to my family. See you later, Coyle.
I'm Buddy Brown, and Coyle and I have known each other for many, many years. We practiced podiatry together, went together. I was in Little Rock, he was in Denison, but he'd call me and say, you know, I have this surgery that I need to do. How would you do it? So I tell him, Lee, I wanted to say something to you. I was a victim of Coyle's total because of my tooth. He would say, what you doing? And I said, well, June and I were getting ready to go out to dinner. And he said, well, you know, I want to tell you about this. So 2 hours later, he'd say, well, I got to go now. I'm going to tell you a story about Coyle and I at a podiatry meeting. We would go to this podiatry meeting. Excuse me. We go to a podiatry meeting in Kingfish, Wyoming, or Chicago, or wherever it might be, and we get on an elevator, and they're being just packed. And Coyle would look at the elevator, and if it had mirrors on all the sides of it, Coyle would say, there are 8 people in here, they're just like that. And I said, Coyle, you know, did you take your medicine? He said, no, I'm not going to. I said, Coyle, the doctor told you to take your medicine. He said, no, it makes me feel funny. I said, well, Coyle, you got to take your medicine whether it makes you feel funny or not. And he said, well, why? I'm not going to kill anybody again. I didn't even take my time. Well, I failed to tell you one thing intentionally. The first floor that was punched on the elevator was 11. Well, somebody would punch 4, well, everybody would get off. I don't know why. We had a speaker that came to the Pioneer Food Research Society meeting that covered the latex on. And he thought that his species was not no different. And Coyle and I, along with a few other members, knew that he was wrong. However, being the gentlemen that we were, we didn't totally offend him. Coyle had brought his blow dart gun. And this guy would come around to write on the chalkboard for his lecture, and all of a sudden he'd hear this, you know, and this guy turned around and said, what was that? Everybody quiet as they could be, and then he turned around again. And, you know, it was a dark slab up against the back of the wall there that Coyle had shown. And I said, what was that? And I said, so, I think the guy was a little shaken up. Well, that night, Coyle and I thought another plan was to get this guy. So we took a Jack Daniels bottle and filled it up with coffee. Just about the same color as Jack Daniels. And back in those days, attendees at the Pioneer meeting or 3 swabs, making sure that the speakers saw me do it. Then I poured another cupful, and Coyle decided to come over and pour himself a drink. And I kind of gave him the dirty look, but I didn't say anything to him. So I continued to consume the drink that I had poured, making sure that our speakers saw me. Then I poured myself another drink, and by that time, Coyle had finished his drink and walked over and poured himself another drink. Again, I didn't say a word, but I gave him a real angry stare. So he gave me an angry look back, like, I dared him to say anything. Then he walked away and drank his drink and came, I drank mine. And the speaker looked a little worried. Actually, it was frightened, confused look. Time for another drink. I poured myself another drink. And then, by the way, the bottle was getting real low by this point. I poured myself a drink, and the Coyle came over and poured himself a drink. This was the time we had planned on. I said to Coyle, "You cheap bastard, why didn't you buy your own booze to drink?" He knocked the cap off of my head. He said, he knocked the cap off my head, and I jumped up and started pushing him up toward the speaker. And the speaker couldn't get it to the corner quick enough. And the funny part was that we hadn't told any of the members of the meeting what we were going to do. So a bunch of them jumped up and started to pull us apart. Well, Coyle and Mary Ann were on a cruise. A few years later, we saw this same speaker. And Coyle went up to him and he introduced himself and said, "I bet you I never put research aside of me a few years ago." And I said, "Oh yeah, I remember." And he ran off, and Coyle said, "I never saw him." Well, every year at the Pioneer Food Research Society meeting, we were going to Durant, and yes, a bunch of you from around here know Nathan's book, a food store that's over there. Well, we took Harry Mercado, and I'm sure that I just looked at her with Harry Mercado. And he was a podiatrist that had written several books, and was a good speaker and so forth. Well, Harry was a quick learner and would follow Coyle in my lead. And he fell in love with this wax raincoat that Davis had there. And as he was signing the receipt, I had a pointer, a laser pointer, that I started following his signature. Well, this little girl that was about 100 pounds, what was there? And Harry said, "Oh, that's my artificial eye, the CIA filled in for." And she said, "No kidding?" And Harry says, "Well, actually, it has 3 modes. One you look with, one you take pictures with, and one you kill with." She said, "No kidding?" And Coyle said, "Don't ask him to put it in the kill mode, and damn near destroy the golf course this morning." She again said, "No kidding." So she said, can you put a dot on that duck Coyle up there on the wall?" So Harry looks up at the wall. Now she still hadn't seen the laser on me. So I'm putting this laser up there, this duck decoy. And Harry said, "You want me to blow it up?" She said, "Oh, no. That's damn cute." And he walks her anyway, she asked Harry something about the CIA, and she says, "Can you tell me about the CIA?" And he says, "Good, I have to do." So she said, "Oh, no, I didn't want to know." One night, Coyle and I were up at the bar at the club. There was a place on the lounge called Purple Living back in the old days, that we shows the names. And And we were by there to this guy who was living with a little bit. And he said, what do you all do for a living? And I said, we're podiatrists. And he said, what is that? Well, I said, he explained to me what a podiatrist was. And he said, well, I'm a welder. And I said, well, gee, I paid my way through med school welding. In fact, I'm still a member of the local union there at 453. I know that. So, got a real good idea about what we call about unions. Anyway, we bought unions late and everything, all this and then about 2 o'clock in the morning, they kicked us out of the bar for last call. Well, we walked out to the parking lot, spotted a truck, and he had a Lincoln welding machine on the back. And I said, you got a Lincoln welder? He said, yeah. I said, you can't weld anything unless it's a whole car. He said, I got to step across it, I can weld it. That was when you were laughing. That was funny. I don't think anyway. Anyway, I asked him, I said, did you do this big here on this truck? He said, no, I tried to weld it. Well, Coyle and the fellow that was with his buddy, talking through the windows of this truck, and all of a sudden I heard the Coyle say, well, go ahead, make my day. And I knew something was going on at that point. And this guy looked out the window at his buddy and he said, well, come on, I think I need to get home. My wife's going to kill me. So I said, oh, what happened with you talking with that boy? He said, well, he said he was going to take his, he had a 357 Magnum there, and he pulled it out. That's when he said, make my day, and I said, oh. Last word. As everybody knows, when one goes to podiatric medical school or any medical school, there's a great deal of study required. And when Coyle and I went to med school, we spent a lot of time studying in the library. Now, you young people don't know what a library is. It's a library building that contains books and research material. And that was before Al Gore invented the okay? One of the books in the library is called The Thesaurus. Now, the Thesaurus is a book that contains a plethora of words. I mean, every word known to man, I thought. And it was real thick. So it had curse words and it had holy words and everything else. And there was a great deal of statistical data in there. So I thought, well, I'll just do a good Coyle Demoss. So I looked it up, it gave me a great deal of data about him, and then it said curmudgeon. And then it also said that he was a member of the United States Marine Corps, which was one of the requirements of being a curmudgeon. When Coyle passed away, he went to his early age. At the same time as a Catholic bishop, and St. Peter asked one of them, each one of them, what his name was. And the Catholic bishop said his name was Charles Michael O'Donovan from the county court, Ireland. And then St. Peter turned to Coyle and asked his name. And Coyle said, Coyle Demoss from Bells, Texas. So St. Peter asked the bishop what he realized for his earthly life. And he said, I was a Catholic bishop and served the Lord for over 50 years. Then St. Peter asked Coyle what he did in his earthly life. Coyle said, I was put in a position in surgery for 4 years, and I flew a pilot of a great deal of angel flights. So St. Peter checked his book and said, both of you are in the book, and you can enter heaven. So come on in. And go to the closet to your right, Lord, and you'll find investment. And the pure gold standard is generally approved for use. And Coyle gold silver investment guide, the pure gold silver approved for individual vision to the full remains. Then some people told the bishop to go to the closet to the well, pick out a white cotton investment and a woman said for himself. And the bishop asked some people for Coyle and the gold silver investment, gold silver. And he was dedicated after he had dedicated his life to the Lord and invited a cotton investment and a woman prayer. And then they had the Lord and how Coyle entered the Lord. Some people said to the bishop, when you would say these homilies, all of your Christians would fall asleep. But when Coyle was filled with fire, and someone on an angel flight, everyone would praise the Lord. On a serious note, I'd like to close with a prayer. Coyle and be fearless upon your life. May the martyrs receive you into the holy city of Jerusalem. May the ranks of the angels receive you, and may they all be fed eternal rest. Amen.
Come. You're up.
This is the Coyle guy, right? So, I'm calling my brother Adam. I found out about 3 days ago that Coyle found religion in his life. And I had something to do with that. A long time ago, I was asked to marry somebody else, and I got ordained in the first church that I knew. So religion is based on the individual. Hence my flourish of rose. So afterwards, from what I understand, Derek and Coyle became members of the law themselves. So I felt this was an appropriate way to handle this. I brought some notes. Okay, I only got some copies. So, in Coyle's house, like my brother said, it was like going to a Disney World. There was attraction, there's petting zoo, just like any good amusement park, there's a carriage. Coyle was your Mickey Mouse. You got our Minnie Mouse. And surrounding them, there was just a plethora of people that would show up. You know, we had Vicky and Clarence, of course, my grandfather and my grandmother. Their brother, Woodrow. I have no idea for the life of me why we call him Uncle Pete, but that's what we call him. This will become important later. So, if nothing else, Coyle taught me a lot of things. One of the things he taught me was how to tell a story. And really the best way to tell a story is pants down, blood thing out, just go for it. Let's do this. So I gone to Coyle's house one year for we got shipped off. I'm there and there was always cats. I don't remember any of the cats' names except Mama Kitty. And this particular trip, Mama Kitty had a litter of kittens as well as that cat and about 4 others. But this time my parents wouldn't let me have a cat, so I didn't know heaven with all these kitties. Well, out of nowhere, Peter showed up and in the garden that he had at Coyle's house. I'm making the way from the house to the garage, which is where all the snacks were kept anyways. And as I'm walking out, Uncle Pete says to me, "Where are you going?" And I said, "Well, I'm going out there to play with the kitty." Because at the time, I was busy with my 2 front teeth. Well, Uncle Pete, he ran with that for a while. He really liked that guy went out the garage to his titties. Uncle Coyle really did too. By the end of the day, I was pretty young, I was 6 or 8. It hurt my feelings a little bad. I was pretty upset about it. I went crying to my mom because I was a titty baby family. And I had a long talk with my mom. She made me feel better about it. And what I didn't know was in the background, she would have a conversation with her brother. Well, I was outside
mentioned loss. These are all things that Coyle dealt with and taught us all lessons about. And I definitely learned that similar generosity and love had a taste for difference. He was more than willing to take what he appreciated and leave the rest behind. And the Big Lebowski kind of goes with that as it was. That's just your opinion, man. So, I look around this room and what I see, and I know a lot of the faces out here, but there's a lot of them I don't know, but I still see family everywhere. Because every one of y'all was part of Coyle's chosen family. And that was a lesson that he taught me about. Family is blood, family is who you choose. Who you choose to take care of. Who you choose to make it right for. So today I'm going to walk away and I'm going to leave behind what doesn't matter. And I'm going to take with me those things that Coyle taught me. And you should know he's not gone. He's there, he's over there, and he's right there. He taught every single one of us more than one lesson. So, Coyle.
Please stay longer, my son spent hours on it.
How long I spent on it, that's not the point. It is long, I'm not gonna lie. Some of y'all been here for a while, tired, that's fine. The peak of the program in the first 6